we want to play.
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.
Your kind attention this evening. It's a great Tuesday. It's a wet Tuesday, a Tuesday after an eclipse that we got to see, and I hope that you were able to witness it. I was really impressed by the number of young people that got to witness it. I think the school systems did a really good job of getting the glasses so the students could see it and participate in it. And certainly, we never know, that exposure may have triggered something in one of these young people that might wind up curing cancer or some disease that we don't even know about it. So shout out to the school system for that. Again, this is Issues That Matter. I'm Calvin Lester. Stephen Jackson is presently in Baton Rouge serving the people of this area, more specifically State House District 2. We thank him for his service. So I'm going to be flying solo tonight, although we're going to have a special guest this evening at 7:15. Before we get started, we always take a moment to thank our station owner, Brother Johnny Antoine, for giving us this portal, this platform to speak to you about these things. And, of course, we take it not for granted that we have this opportunity. And the more and more as we move forward, the more and more I realize how important it is for us to be able to sit down and have an intelligent conversation about those things that are of consequence to us from a decidedly community perspective. And so we thank Johnny for opening this portal. And what I would ask you, those of you that are social media mavens, I would ask you to do a couple of things. One, those of us that are on YouTube and that platform, you see that there is a Hot 97 The Heat YouTube page. We like for you to subscribe to that. I know that there is a Facebook group that about 1,000 of you are on. Actually, it's probably closer to 1,700 of you. And there's another Facebook group that about 2,000 of you that are part of. I want to say, I think it's called 97-7 The Heat, the heart of the city, the voice of the city. We want the voice of the city to ring out strong. And so what we would ask you to do is take a moment to like and subscribe to our YouTube page. We're trying to get that off the ground so that we can put out more content, but more importantly, that it reach more people. Some of you have the opportunity to sit and listen to us during our designated hour, but some folks don't. And so that's the purpose of the YouTube, to allow our friends and neighbors that don't get an opportunity to listen to this program live to share it and have some commentary. And certainly, if you are on other forms of social media, look for 97.7 The Heat. Look for the Issues That Matter Instagram page. Look for the Issues That Matter Facebook page, all of that stuff. If you see anything that's branded 97.7 The Heat, whether it be our show or other shows, we really, really, really would appreciate it if you would subscribe to it, share it, publicize us, give us comments. We want to hear from you. Speaking of that, if you want to participate in tonight's show, there's several ways you can do it. You can get on the aforementioned social media that I mentioned, or you can call us. Our phone number, the hotline, is 318-779-0459, 318-779-0459. We would love to hear from you. So, want to hit a couple of stories, headlines, if you will, that are going on that I think are particularly of note for us in this community. And then we're going to take a break and then connect with our guest for the evening. Yesterday, there was a hearing that began in Shreveport Federal District Court. A 3-judge panel assembled in the courthouse here in Shreveport, the federal courthouse, to hear a challenge to the legitimacy and the constitutionality of the second what it will now be the 6th congressional district, which has been redrawn, and that the new district has a higher percentage of African Americans and is done to create the opportunity for African Americans' votes to be heard and that they can elect a candidate of their choice. Just because it's a district that has a higher number of African Americans does not mean that it is a black district. That is illegal. What it is legal to do is draw a district that allows the minority community to vote for a candidate of their choice. And that district, to my mind, fits. It was drawn in the middle of a Republican supermajority in the legislature, supported by, of all people, Governor Landry. And so it was interesting that one of the things that came out in the trial was Governor Landry's desire to get rid of Congressman Garrett Graves. There was testimony at the trial that there was no secret that Congressman Graves had drawn the ire of Governor-elect Landry. And so when the opportunity presented itself to do two things at once, which is one, comply with Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act as dictated by Judge Dick in the Middle District of Louisiana in federal court, as well as to get rid of a political opponent, he did that. And so people say, well, is he allowed to do that? Unfortunately, the answer to that is yes. I say unfortunately because in many other districts around the country, particularly places like Wisconsin, but if we keep it in the South, these congressional districts have been gerrymandered. More often than not, you have districts or states that have a majority Democratic numbers of constituents. So it begs the question, how do you have a state that has majority of its voter registration be in the Democratic Party, but the Democratic Party have the fewest number of seats? Well, that's because you draw around people, you draw people in places, and you throw a bunch of curveballs. Well, this Republican theology, for lack of a better term, has been allowed, and courts have upheld it in other jurisdictions. Well, it just so happens that situations and circumstances are that this idea to protect incumbency, in this case, to protect Speaker Mike Johnson so he would not have his seat drawn away, are things that have been previously allowed by federal courts as a reason, because it's not drawn strictly for a racial reason. The argument that the plaintiffs has is that this new district was drawn strictly for racial purposes, and the evidence is quite clear that it was drawn for retribution. It was drawn for compliance with the Voting Rights Act, but this argument that the only reason they drew it was to create another African American district was not the case. And so we'll find out how that goes, but it's kind of interesting that some of those same people that are upset about the way the district looks were not upset with other districts and other jurisdictions because it favored them. And so we're going to see how that all shakes out. Of course, there are further bond meetings that are going on in the city of Shreveport, and I would urge you to look at that schedule and please attend one of those bond issues meetings and ask questions. I would ask you, if you go to one of those meetings, ask the question about how is the African American business community going to benefit? We understand we're going to build streets. We got that. Our question is, how is the African American business community going to participate? Ask questions about what's going to be done for small and emerging businesses. Ask questions about how is it that we're going to ensure that most of this money that is raised in Shreveport from Shreveport taxpayers is going to remain in the city of Shreveport as opposed to going to Baton Rouge and New Orleans and places like that. So those are great questions that I think need to be asked, and I would love to hear from the administration in terms of what their responses are. And I think that should guide your decision on which way to vote coming up. So those are my thoughts on that. We're going to take a really quick break because in a minute we've got a guest that's coming in. But as we get ready to go to break, in the future, in upcoming shows, we're going to go and we're going to talk some more about something that I posted on my Facebook page, and that is this study that was done in the 90s called A Time to Choose. So your assignment, as if I was in class for the next maybe week or so, is to go to my Facebook page, Calvin Ben Lester. There's a post that talks about A Time to Choose, the study that was done by Mr. Morrison, Ed Morrison, on behalf of the Committee of 100 and a group of business owners in 1994. And it's very prescient, some of the things it says about the need for African-American entrepreneurship and some of the prescriptions it has to cure some of the ills that we have back then that still exist today. And I really think you need to read that report, and we need to have some conversation about that. In fact, I'm working on reaching out actually to Mr. Morrison to have him on the show if we can make that happen. So we'll talk about that a little bit more moving forward, but we're going to take a quick break, and after the break, we'll have our guests. You're listening to Issues That Matter, 97.7 Heat. We play what we want to play and say what we want to say. Stick with us on the other side of the break.
WKSH 97.7, the People's Voice.
Do you want great tasty seafood served to you with 6 different flavor choices? Or you can even get the premix of all flavors. Stop by 7850 Linwood. Follow our page at Crab King Shreveport or Monroe, Alexandria. We provide shrimp, potatoes, corn, sausage, boiled eggs, crab legs, lobster tails, and so much more. So if you ready to eat, we ready to feed you. Come get you some at Crab King Shreveport, Louisiana.
Shrimp, potatoes, corn, sausage, boiled eggs.
Come get you some crab legs.
Hello.
We play what we want because we know you want it too. We're WKSH 97.7 FM, The Heat.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can't find an old-fashioned music store? Never fear, because Garland's still here. For the newest and hottest music up to date, we have the best selection of CDs, DVDs, and music, also available now on flash drives. Jones Wholesale Music, formerly Garland's, has the best selection of gospel music, sermons, hip-hop, blues, R&B, jazz, old school, country, zydeco. And because Shreveport is the home of Southern Soul, we carry more Southern Soul artists and music than anyone in the country. In addition to hot music, we also offer other services too. If you have old music with memories on VHS, video cassettes, albums, or 45s, and you want to preserve those memories, we can convert them to CD or digital format. We also compress and package your music for retail. It's tax season. Getting another car, or you just want to update your music collection, you can get for a limited time only 100 full album releases of your choice. Old music or new, 100 albums for $100 on flash drives for a limited time. Flash drives only. We're talking about the original album as they were released or mixed. You can now get the Holy Bible on flash drive, whatever version of the Bible you prefer. We also ship all over the country. Call and order by phone, 318-828-7877 or 318-686-6890. Slight Tracks Entertainment presents Queen T Big Southern Soul and Blues Birthday Bash. Friday night, May 3rd, the Shreveport Municipal Auditorium. And we're going to celebrate Queen T's birthday with performances from Sir Charles Jones, TK Soul, Jeter Jones, P2K, plus Shayna D Music, Volton Wright, and Tiffany Rochelle. Queen T's Big Southern Soul and Blues Birthday Bash. Friday night, May 3rd at the Shreveport Municipal Auditorium. Sir Charles Jones, TK Soul, Jeter Jones, P2K, Shayna D Music, Bolton Wright, and Tiffany Rochelle. Hurry and get your tickets now. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. Come.
Issues that matter.
All right,
with
we are
Calvin
back. We're
Lester
back.
and
I'm
Stephen
Calvin
Jackson
Lester.
on
Stephen Jackson is
WKSH
out serving
97.7, The Heat.
the folks of House District 2. We've got with us a very interesting guest, a very special guest, someone that I got an opportunity to listen to him make a presentation this morning at Southern University at Shreveport as part of our Student Government Association President, Mr. Jairon Young, had an event. I think it's called Kings Don't Lead Alone, and it was a conversation about young black men, some of their issues, and it was multi-generational, which means they let some of us gray hair folks in the room and talk. But our keynote speaker, who is also our guest this evening, was Dr. Michael CADORE. Dr. CADORE is the executive director of community engagement at Eastern Florida State College. He is a very intellectual individual. He has a great story in terms of going from playing football and getting drafted to the New Orleans Saints and playing in the Canadian League to getting back into higher education and obtaining his doctorate degree. And he is an outstanding speaker. He's a member, just to show that we are multi-generational and all about the Divine Nine here. He is a proud member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. For all those that fly under the blue flag, this is your brother. But without further ado, we'd like to bring to the show Dr. Michael A. CADORE Sr., the Executive Director of Community Engagement at Eastern Florida State College. Dr. CADORE, how are you doing this evening, brother?
Dr. Lester, I'm doing extremely well. Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor and a pleasure to meet you earlier today.
Yes. So let's get right to it. One of the many things you said, I want to go to something that you touched on at the end. Let me preface it. Why, in your opinion, because you've done a lot of this work, why do you think it's important for us to be concerned about what's going on with young African American men in our community? I know you've devoted a bit of your scholarship and your energies in that direction. Beside the professional piece, why is that important, and why should our listeners be concerned about that topic?
Beautiful question. I think it's important on all levels, but probably the most important is just the opportunities that are needed for everyone, and everyone does not have the same opportunities to excel or even know about the opportunities that are out there to allow them to achieve that success. So we try to remove those barriers, and a lot of times those who come from underreported or economically challenged areas, we need to be able to, especially in our position of higher education or just in our community in general, being able to provide opportunities that will allow them to be able to achieve. And that's not just for men and women of color, but I think sometimes our strategic focus has to be for our students of color based upon some of the challenges that they may be facing.
One of the things that you spoke about at length today was the importance of both mentorship, but you spoke of it from the perspective of having mentors and allowing yourself to be mentored. Kind of speak to why it's important for all of us to have mentors, but particularly some of our young people to have mentors, and why it's so important for some of our young people to allow themselves to be mentored, because a lot of them don't.
Beautiful. So true. It's as simple as this. If you don't serve your community now, do not expect your community to be able to serve you later. And that opportunity comes from mentorship. Every time I've achieved any level, whether that be from grade school to high school, or on to getting my higher education degree, there was someone along the way that helped me. And some of the main things that they had given me was to be able to give back to your community through mentoring and getting engaged into your community. So we can never forget that. Many times we struggle with what we're wanting to do, but sometimes if we see it, not just in others, but those who somewhat look like us, it gives those opportunities to do it. And being at Eastern Florida State College, I'm honored that our president, Dr. Ritchie, gives opportunities for everyone. And by coming to Eastern, if I can kind of segue into that, not just for those seeking an AA degree, an associate degree, or even a bachelor's degree, but being in a position for workforce development and readiness. But for men and women of color particularly, I think it's important when you provide opportunities to give students a sense of belonging, Many students can leave and go off to college and may not be ready or get there and get overwhelmed. But not only helping get them into college, being able to give them a sense of belonging that can retain them there, but allow them to get into the workforce and become productive within the communities.
Right, right. So listen, let me ask you about something else that that you brought up that I saw before we would take our first break. You have a program at your institution called the Minority Male Initiative, MMI. Talk to us about how that initiative got started and what it seeks to accomplish. That.
Beautiful, beautiful. The Minority Male Initiative at Eastern Florida State College is simply about helping our students kind of achieve their dreams. You know, many times they're trying to juggle college and life, and that can be very, very challenging. So we had an opportunity to attend a conference in Tampa, Florida, called the Black and Brown College Bound Conference, and that were men of color, students, higher education, faculty, and staff who came together just to talk about that. From that conference, it birthed the Minority Male Initiative, which also is a club at Eastern Florida State College. And the mission of that is just, again, improve retention, the completion rates, and just make college more fun and rewarding by giving them an opportunity to have those things there. And I think 3 bullet points in regards to that initiative is just that personalized mentoring, advising, if you will, also being positioned peer support, and then that tutoring, and just having a dedicated digital space for these students to be able to connect with each other on campus with the main goal in mind of achieving that degree and that certification. And the Minority Male Initiative has been excellent at Eastern Florida State College. So much so, not just for our male students, that we're now making a shift for student leaders on campus that may be female and not of color. So it's a collective thing all the way around.
Right. That's pretty impressive. That's impressive. So look, we're going to go to a really quick break, our first break, and we're going to ask Dr. CADORE to stick around for a little bit. When he comes back, we're going to ask him to talk to us about some of his other exploits. I did not mention that he is serving as a city councilman in his area and he's retired from law enforcement. But I want to ask him when he comes back about a statement he made to the young folks today, which was be brave, be bold, be you. So we're going to tease that, and when he comes back, we're going to talk about that. You're listening to Issues That Matter, 97.7 Heat, WKSH. We play what we want to play and say what we want to say. Stick with us.
You're my baby, my lover, my lady. All night you make me want you. It drives me crazy. I feel like you were made just for me, babe. Tell me if you feel the same way, 'cause it just feels so right. I don't wanna waste no time. If I had to choose, I know I'm gonna always choose to be with you. 'Cause girl, don't you know? Girl, don't you know you're so beautiful? I wanna give all my love to you, girl. Not just tonight, but the rest of your life. I wanna be always here by your side. Girl, don't you know you're so beautiful? I wanna give all my love to you, girl. Not just tonight, but the rest of your life. I wanna be always here by your side. When you're not here, you don't know how much I miss you. The whole time on my mind is how much I'm gonna get to make you feel so good, like you know I could. Tell me if you feel the same way, 'cause it just feels so right. I don't wanna waste no time. Girl, if I had had to choose, I know I'm gonna always choose to be with you. Girl, don't you know? Girl, don't you know you're so beautiful? Yeah, babe. I wanna give my love to you, girl. Not just tonight, but the rest of your life. Your life. I wanna be always here by your side. Girl, don't you know?
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.
And we are back. We're back. That is a great song by the one and only Music Soul Child. Dr. Cato, want to hit this last segment, and we're going to let you go because we got a couple of topics that came up today that we need to deal with. So when we left, we were talking about something that you said, which was be bold, be brave, be you. And you gave that as a message to our young people. So talk to us about why you said that, what that means, and why that's so important.
Thank you so much. Be bold, be brave, be you. And I'll try to summarize that up. For me, initially meeting Mr. Jaron Young at a conference in Florida a few years ago, that young man had to be bold in being able to approach me to be able to establish the relationship that led me to come back up to Louisiana.
Right.
A sense of no fear, knowing who he is, a sense of transparency, and honesty to say, hey, I need help and I like what I see, to be able to come back to our institution to pour to some of our other students. Be brave. Be brave. Regardless of nationality and your background, we're going to have those moments, doctor, where we're uncomfortable. We're going to have those moments when, we just got to stand and be brave, because just our presence alone can help yourself, but more importantly, help others. And then be you. So many of us come from backgrounds that are different. I'm a first-generation student myself, and even though I may have got to the tables where others may have approached with different gifts or talents, if you will, or opportunities, still be yourself. Sometimes with social media, we may try to emulate others, and that's not really who we are, and then we can get off course. So the mindset of keeping it simple, be bold, be brave, be you, with the mindset, as I close, to try and educate, encourage, and empower. And that is helpful from Mr. Young. That's what you even shared in your messages today. And honored to be here to be able to share this information with you on your radio show.
Well, Dr. Cato, I thank you for extending yourself, because you came to speak, and I really am glad that we were able to share a bit of your message with our audience. If folks wanted to find out more about some of the things that you're working on, how would they be able to get in contact with you on social media and things like that?
Well, very simple. And I kind of wore three different hats, if you will, on this. From Eastern Florida State College, you can go there and circle around and try to Google me under Dr. Michael CADORE. There, I'm also blessed to serve in the capacity of the city of Rockledge. City of Rockledge is about 15 minutes from Orlando. Any social media, be able to put in Michael CADORE, CADORE, to be able to track us down, whether that's through Eastern Florida State College, serving in the capacity as a city councilman, or even from my business, Magnus Solutions, which can be contacted or found at www.magnussi.com. And if I can, Doctor, I'd love to give a huge shout out to, again, Eastern Florida State College. We just broke ground on a $20 million facility for our site program, this Center for Innovative Technology and Education.
Wow.
This is absolutely an amazing thing that our president, our board of trustees have put together, just giving our students the opportunity to have a workforce station, if you will, to be able to achieve those bachelor's degrees and associate degrees, or even those college certificates. So it's no ordinary building, and our president and board of trustees have just set this high standard of excellence located in Central Florida. So I want to give a huge shout out. We just did that groundbreaking on that on Monday at Eastern Florida State College. Yes, sir.
That's awesome. That's something that we're working toward here in Shreveport too. So listen, Dr. CADORE, I really thank you for your time. I really appreciate your message. I know that it resonated very well with the young folks that were there at Sussel today, and And Godspeed to you, brother. Have a good flight, and we'll be keeping up with you.
Yes, sir. God bless you to you as well, and continue success. God
Yes,
bless.
sir. Y'all have a good evening. So we're going to take another quick break, and we're going to come back and discuss a couple of hot topics that I've been saving for the end. We're going to let the company get out the door before we might have to throw an elbow or two. So you're listening to Issues That Matter. This is 97.7 The Heat, WKSH. We play what we want to play and say what we want to say. Stick with us.
Ain't there something I can give you in exchange for everything you give to me? Read my mind, you make me feel just fine when I think my peace of mind is out of reach. The scales are sometimes unbalanced, and you bear the weight of all that has to be. I hope you see that you can lean on me, and together we can calm the stormy seas. We love so strong and so unselfishly, and I tell you now that I made a vow, I'm giving you the best that I've got, baby. Yes, I tell you now that I made a vow, I'm giving you the best that I've got, honey. Everybody's got opinions about the way they think our story's gonna end. Some folks feel it's just a superficial thrill. Everybody's gonna have to think again. We love so strong and so unselfishly. They don't bother me, so I'm gonna keep on giving you the best that I've got, baby. They don't bother me, said I'm gonna keep on giving you the best that I've got. Listen, baby, somebody understand me. Somebody give his hand to me. I stumbled my whole life long, always on my own. Now I'm home, and my weary mind is rested, and I feel as if my home is in your arms. My fears are all gone, I like the sound of your song, and I think I wanna sing it forever. We love is so strong and so unselfish.
97.7, I can.
And I made a
97.7.
vow, so I tell you now, I'm giving you the best that I've got. Listen, baby, I bet everything on my wedding ring. I'm giving it to you, baby.
Have to notify. So there are some provisions
Well, play it again.
where the public is informed as to what's going on, and then at the end of that negotiation period, those details would be made public as well.
And that was where I was going. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that was a language piece that can.
How long?
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.
And we are back. We're back. And this is Issues That Matter. And I thank you for your kind attention. So we've talked about how we are in the legislative session right now. And of course, our co-host, Brother Jackson, is down in Baton Rouge dealing with some of those issues. And of course, he brings to his position down there some experience, certainly because he was fortunate enough to serve us as our parish commissioner for District 3, almost 8 years. And so when you go to government, you get an opportunity to kind of fix some things that you think are wrong, some things that were out of the ordinary, some things that were not working for you. And so as part and parcel of that, Representative Jackson filed a bill that talks about protecting information in economic development cases. What many of you don't know is that the state of Louisiana and many other states are very competitive when it comes to economic development projects. In my day, when there was economic development, they would tell us, and of course, local elected officials, we are usually the last ones to know, and that's because we are the first ones to run and go tell it. We always want to get a headline to talk about the things that we're doing. And in a normal instance, that's a great thing, but when you're competing with Jackson, Mississippi, and you brag about what you're doing in your area, many times that your competitive city or area will come behind you, and if you say, well, we're giving them $100, they'll say we'll give them 101, and we lose the deal. And so what's important is for there to be some sense of keeping that information on the QT and away from the public while you're negotiating those things. Some of y'all will recall back in the day, we were trying to get that Boeing plant, Johnny. And remember, we had Boeing all over town, on the bus benches, everywhere. Boeing. And so what wound up happening was that didn't work. And so we kind of got out there bad. So I want to play some audio from a hearing that happened, and Representative Jackson is going to say in his own words exactly what his bill is. And I want to bring you this information because, as we always say, I think we got a caller right quick. Hello?
Steve?
Yeah.
Okay. What I was going to say, Rep, is when we open the show, we make a point to always tell our audience how thankful that we are because we have the opportunity to talk to folks about what's really going on, because there is so much disinformation out there. And I think this is one of those scenarios where some folks in other media outlets are putting something that the governor wants to do and that conflating that with what something you want to do. And those are two separate things. And so to give some context, there's a package of bills that have been authored by the governor's floor leaders that seeks to basically hide information from the public records about how government operates, things about who sells the money or where they spend money, things that have traditionally been in the public purview for decades, right? Things that news agencies file freedom of information requests because the public has a right to know, which is separate and apart from economic development, because it is a well settled issue that when you have an economic development project, that is something that people know, but that is not discussed with the public, because when you put it in the public, your competitors know and you lose the opportunity. And it's more important for us to get jobs. And it's pretty well settled that the state does not put those information out. In fact, it's well settled that usually what happens is when the state is involved in a project, they give the project a code name. It might be project, telephone. It might be project such and such, so they can describe the project, but the details are kept away from public view. And the state has done that for years. As I appreciate it, you decided to file a bill that gives local government who may be involved in a state project or something significant the ability to do what is done by the state Department of Economic Development. I don't want to put words in your mouth. We were getting ready to play some audio, but go ahead.
If you want, I don't know if you want to play the audio first or.
Sure. So let's play the audio. It's about a minute and a half, 2 minutes of audio. We're gonna go with that.
Have to notify. So there are some provisions where the public is informed as to what's going on, and then at the end of that negotiation period, those details would be made public as well.
And that was where I was going. I'm going to cut you off, but that was a language piece that can tie that together to make that work. Am I right, Mr. Steinberg?
The representative is correct. Yes.
Yes. Okay. And I think we can work toward to doing that piece. But there's another face at the table right now. Would you please,
Chairman Lyons? Thank you so much. My name is Debbie Hinton. I'm Executive Counsel for the Police Jury Association, and we are in support of Rep. Jackson's bill. And he so adroitly made the point that this bill aligns with the exemption for state economic development negotiations that have been in place for a long time. And I just wanted to make that clear.
Thank you. And I'm looking at Mr. Steinberg. That's something that we just a small technicality we can figure out and an amendment piece to make this work between here and the floor. And he's open to that.
Yes.
And Rev. Jackson, I appreciate that. We just had a lot, as you know.
Everybody knows where to find. Thank you.
I understand.
Okay.
We fought this one a few times. So.
Well, great. Well, the board is clear right now, and we had a motion made by Rep. Marcel to move House Bill 461 favorable.
Okay, so Representative Jackson, talk to us about the bill and what your goals and objectives were about that, because it seemed to me that when the local news media tried to make it seem like your bill was something that you were hiding and this was part of the governor's package. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think we got to make sure, because you know me, I want to make sure that we are politically correct as well as factually correct. I cannot say that is the package of bills that center around public records request is the governor's package of bill. I don't know that the governor asked anybody to carry these bills, so I can't confirm that, and I don't want us to be out here saying that, because that's just something that can't be confirmed. I don't know that to be true, and so we got to be careful when we go there, because one of the things that I'm on the media about right now is not being factually correct, and so I want to make sure that we can say things that we can stand by and prove, if you follow what I'm saying.
Okay.
And that's always been our pattern at 97.7 Issues That Matter. That's always been what we stood about, is we can verify and back up anything that we say and put out. That's why we can say what we want to say.
Right.
But the bill, House Bill 416, is a priority bill that was asked of me by a local governmental entity, because they have been dealing with this issue several times, particularly specifically in Caddo Parish, where we have been up for economic development projects in competition with cities like Longview, Tyler, cities in southern Arkansas, cities in Oklahoma, areas that are right on the border in Shreveport, Caddo. These areas are competing with our region for other projects. And what they do is, when they find out that their competition is in the finalists with them, what they will do is the company will come and, not the company, the local government, Longview or Tyler, will hire a private company to come in and submit a public records request, because they know these folks spend hundreds of thousands of dollars knowing what their competition is doing, because economic development is competitive. And so they know that the state of Louisiana has an exemption, but your local governments don't have the exemption. And so what they do is they will hire a private company. That private company will come in, submit a public records request on their behalf, and we'll go back, take that to Longview, take that to whoever their client is, and then the client comes in and they outbid us. And so if Caddo Parish is offering $2 million in incentives, if we're offering a property tax break or something of that nature, then they go back and say, well, we'll give you $5 million in incentives, and instead of giving you a 10-year tax break, we'll give you a 15-year tax break. And this being a competitive environment, and the company wants to limit their liability, their exposure, they go with what is the best deal on the table. That's what economic development is. It's who has the best deal, who has the best package. And so if we are always constantly showing our hand, it's just like a game of poker. If we're showing our hand every time, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
We're going to always lose. As I told somebody earlier today, what if LSU played Alabama 2 weeks before the game, LSU versus Bama, Alabama submits a public records request for the LSU playbook. Give me the playbook. I need it.
Right.
Bayou Classic.
Right.
2 weeks before the Bayou Classic,
Right.
Grambling submitting a public records request for Southern playbook.
Right.
Because it's a public record. And so
Right.
these are the type of, and I use that analogy because I try to put it in layman's terms
Right.
so folks will understand exactly what I'm talking about. Cowboys playing the Saints.
Right.
I'm a Cowboys fan.
Right.
But what does it look like the Cowboys submitting a public records request to the New Orleans Saints saying, give me your offensive playbook for the first half?
I mean, and I get where you're coming from. I think at the end of the day, as someone who sat in the seat of local government, you lost out on deals because the law allowed an exemption that other people don't have, and they were using that exemption against us. Does not allow an exemption. So it puts us at a competitive disadvantage. And so you went down to close a loophole that was allowing other competitive areas to take liberty and use the law to basically find out what we're doing so they can compete against us. That makes all the sense in the world. And clearly, let me say this, I think it was important that we played on the clip that the State Police Jury Association, which is the association of cattle commissions or police juries for parishes around the state of Louisiana, thought enough about your piece of legislation to come down and say, not only do we want him to do this, we are glad that he's doing it, because in my parish, St. John the Baptist, St. Landry, St. Tammany, wherever, we are having the same problem too. So it's not just an isolated thing, it's across the board.
Yeah, and you got to remember, here's what tends to happen as well. A company comes to, Livingston Parish. Well, they'll come talk to LED, the state folks, and then the state folks, it creates this sort of territory turf war. Calvin, you've been in it before. It creates almost like a turf war between LED and the local government, because now nobody can talk to the mayor, nobody can talk to the parish president, nobody can talk to the CAO or the city council members, because the moment you have a conversation with them,
it's a public record.
Subject to public records request. And so, the media has put this out as if I'm trying to hide. I hate that they use the word hide public records, local government public records. My bill does not do anything to, if there's police wrongdoing, or if there's a situation that's going on in the neighborhood, if there's something going on in local government, my bill doesn't do anything to that. My bill simply says, if this is an economic development project, we will exempt it. And what also is important, and what the young lady at the table mentioned from the state police, from the police jury state association, is this is existing law. This law is already on the books for the state of Louisiana. It's already on the books for the poor.
Right.
And so for people to jump up, scream, and holler as if this is something brand new, it's not. All we're doing is adding a comma. All we're doing is adding a comma in the statute and adding local and parish government, municipal and parish government to it. And so, I just think some people have used my bill as a means to try to waive some other greater, bigger issue around public records. But my bill does nothing more than provide a prescriptive period for which the negotiation for a public record, for an economic development bill to become public record. Once the negotiations are over, the records are free and clear.
Right.
Steve, I think a lot of people wanted to know, did it open other doors? Do this bill that you're suggesting, does it open up other doors for the city or the state or whoever to hide any, where they not being transparent? I think that's the big deal.
No, it doesn't. And what people have to do is you have to trust the people that you elect.
Mm-hmm.
What you have to do. You elected us. You got to trust. And my mantra now has become I've been elected for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
For 8 years I hadn't stole anything from the public. In 8 years I hadn't done anything that violates the public trust. So why would I start in year 9 wanting to push legislation and push policy that does the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense. I can now say almost a decade I've been in public service, and at no point have I pushed anything like that. We have to always stop assuming, and for some reason our mind goes to what happened, what's wrong,
right,
as opposed to saying, you know what's right about this. We automatically turn to, well, what about this? What's wrong with that? We automatically jump to those, and I don't know what this psychology is called. I got to go talk to a therapist or something to figure out what is this.
What it's called is that the people that have interest in it can curve it and turn it another way to where the public will see it in a different light. And I think that's what really happened. I think that when it came out in the Illustrator, the guy that put it out, he actually put it out as you was trying to push something other than that. No transparency with the government or and stuff like that. I mean, with the local government or city. So they thought that people would have the opportunity to do things and not even share the information, would even be public for the citizens to see.
Well, let me say this, because I don't want to get Representative Jackson in trouble. So this is Calvin Ben Lester's statement backed by Calvin Ben Lester. I think where I was going with it is there are people in positions that slant stories for a certain perspective.
Right.
Okay.
And you giving them the reaction that they want.
What actually happened was there have been in this legislative session a number of bills that people who are concerned about transparency in government operations have been concerned about. Okay? And that's 100% legitimate. Those bills are creating new scenarios that take information that has been in the public sphere for years, for decades, and is now deciding to try to put those documents away. That's on this side. Representative Jackson's bill deals with a scenario that says, for economic development purposes only, what we do at the state and what we have done at the state level for decades, what we've done in our ports for decades, what we've done at our airports for decades, we want to make sure that our cities and our parishes can do that same thing. And if you listen to what he said, for a period of time, not forever. So while we are negotiating, let's do something that our folks do all the time. If Johnny and I were playing spades and I have my cards down, I'm knowing what you bidding. I know how you playing. I'm not going to lose a game when I see how your cards are. This gives us an opportunity to hold our cards while we're negotiating so we don't put our cities at a competitive disadvantage. And there have been instance after instance after instance that jobs were lost, opportunities were lost because this law leaves a gaping hole and other folks know what it is and they do it. And they don't have those same things on their borders. So what his bill does specifically and narrowly tailored to give the local government the same opportunity to negotiate on behalf of the same citizens that's complaining to get jobs and economic development in their area. That's separate and apart from these 4 or 5 bills that are creating new law. What I did not like was they took Stevens' bill that deals with something that has been settled for decades and it put it together with the new bills to make the average person think, wait a minute.
Right. That's exactly what I'm
Stephen
saying.
is trying to hide something. And
Right.
in a point of fact, that's not what's happening. That's why I was saying, and I always begin the show with saying, it's important that we have this venue so that we can tell people what's going on, because there are other people who do not mean our community any harm, any good.
They got their own agenda.
That also have an agenda to weaken the confidence in our elected leaders. And I'm saying this again. This is Calvin Ben Lester. This is not Stephen Jackson.
No, but
I have been around for a while. Okay, I have friends in the legislature. I have classmates in the legislature. I've seen it for a minute. Very rarely do freshman legislators come in writing bills of any consequence. More often than not, when you first get elected to Baton Rouge, what you do is you sit, you watch. You might co-sponsor something that's obvious. You might do a resolution for Miss Johnson's 100th birthday. You might do a resolution that celebrates the winning high school football team. But very rarely in your first time in the legislature do you even try to do anything important. Stephen's been in an elective office for 8 years, and this is a problem that he had when he was an elected official here, and he's going down to Baton Rouge to put Caddo Parish in a position where it can be competitive from an economic development standpoint. Again, that's completely separate from bills that are doing new law. But there are some people in this town, I'm not going to call a name, but I'm going to call him Jealous John. You know who I'm talking about. Jealous John, JS, don't settle, who likes to stir the pot. And every time you can try to make one of our local elected officials look bad, you throw something on them, or you'll hold them, our folks, to a higher standard than you hold theirs.
You know, I'm gonna give you a scenario. Not a scenario. This is a real true story. We had a caller that called in last week, and they was doing this little forum over at Afro Park.
Mm-hmm.
They was asking about the streets, about fixing the streets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the mayor was there. So when he asked the mayor, when the guy jumped up and said, "Well, let's see we paying taxes, we doing everything. Let's see where the money went.
Right.
Do you have records to show where the money went?"
Mm-hmm.
And when the mayor told them they don't have no records of nothing, of any money and stuff, and then when this bill come out, then that's the reason why a lot of people put this bill together. This is the reason why they put the bill together. They say, "Oh, so they ain't gonna have to be transparent, and they serve the city, they serve the citizens, and y'all ain't gonna tell us where you put the money at." But see, I'm just showing you. I know the bill is totally different, but that's what people saw.
But here's what we have to also understand. What the mayor was basically telling them is, we haven't spent any money on these streets.
No, he was saying they were though, Steve.
He was talking about in the past. He wasn't.
Right, but he if I understand, the guy asked the mayor about show him where has the money gone for streets or whatever for a certain area. Right?
Right.
And if he says that there are no responsive documents, that means the mayor is basically telling you we hadn't done anything over here.
Right.
So that's a true statement. That's
Right.
a legitimate truth. If I haven't spent any money over here, I have no records to provide.
Right.
But I'm gonna put it this way: he didn't bluntly say it like that. He acted like he gave the assumption that there were
the
records.
documents don't exist.
Yeah, that, you know.
Yeah. Well, let me say
he
this.
wasn't able to see it.
Let me say
but
this.
I just wanted to tell Steve
No.
why some of the people felt like that bill was, because the way it ran together, the red ran together, it made it seem like that, Steve.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say.
What people have to do is people have to trust the elected officials that you have elected.
Right.
Stop letting other people tell you what your elected officials are doing. Trust the people that you have elected. If Henry Whitehorn's election did not prove this whole thing with the sales race, that if they want to control the narrative, they want to be able to control the narrative.
Right.
This is fear mongering, is what they do.
Right.
It's what they do.
Right.
They want to fear monger everything.
Well, they ain't gonna be able to.
Henry gonna go let everybody out of jail. That was
Right.
He letting everybody out of jail.
Well, and the other thing I'm gonna say is this: if folks have a question about what's going on, all they have to do is call the office. I for one am happy that we're in a time that on our platform we're having a substantive conversation about some bills, because that means somebody was trying to read something and somebody was trying to ask a question. And so if you're asking a question and you're trying to get information, you in the right place. We want to give you that information. We don't want to have you ignorant, and we want to help you move forward. And I'm excited that we have this, and I thank you, Brother Jackson, for taking a break down there in Baton Rouge and calling up. And certainly if your constituents or the public has any questions in the future, we will definitely direct them to your office and go from there.
Our Louisiana legislature, our emails are public, our phone number, our office numbers are public, and there's an opportunity to call, engage, and get informed information as opposed to having folks try to fearmonger and steer this conversation so that you can have doubt and discredit your own elected officials. We all went to the polls to go elect Henry a few weeks ago. Sheriff Whitehorn, you can best believe that there's going to be a media blitz to start asking questions like, why he doing this? Why he's doing that? And they never ask these questions of the previous sheriff.
Correct.
They never have asked those questions. They're going to be asking, why he spending money on this? And why he doing this over there at the jail? Why he doing? Where were all these questions when Prater was the sheriff?
Right.
Right. This is what they do, and this is what our people have to understand is this is what they do to try to control the narrative, to control this city and this parish. This is what they do.
Well, Steve, you know what, Steve, man, the opportunity is here. You clarified that. I mean, the city of Shreveport and many more than heard what this bill is about. So, I mean, I'm glad you're calling, and because I was one like, what is this bill?
Right.
I ain't gonna lie, I was one of them.
Well, listen, man, I'm excited that we have a scenario where black folks are reading bills and they're asking questions. Like Stephen said, don't assume, ask the questions, get some information, and don't take what the people who don't mean us any good, that don't respect our leaders, say for granted. They're gonna always put our folks in the worst light possible.
Go read the bill from Reverend St. LeBlanc is what you need to go read. Go read St. LeBlanc. Go read Senator Heather Cloud's bill.
Right.
That's the bill y'all need to be up in uproar. But they won't talk about those bills.
No, because those are their friends. Well, Brother Jackson, we thank you.
Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. And hopefully we'll get you back on here Thursday and give us an update of what's going on. And
town on Thursday.
That'll work. All right.
Right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you listening to Issues That Matter. You heard it from the horse's mouth as it relates to that particular piece of legislation. Johnny, I listen, man, we've got a great audience. They calling in. They want to know what's going on, and we're here to get that answer.
WKSH 97.7, how can we help you?
Yeah, I appreciate y'all show tonight. Informing the people. And I know we kind of spoke about the election with Whitehorn. I want everybody to know that they were part of history, that they were part of the example of what a movement looked like. And with Representative Jackson down there, we need to continue that movement. Whatever we did to organize to get Whitehorn elected, we need to take that same narrative behind Representative Jackson's bill, behind whatever Representative Jackson say we need to be looking out for. Then we need to be blowing the horn. We need whatever groups we got together at the barbershop, at the fraternity, or whatever to get Whitehorn elected. We need to continue that movement around information about different bills that's going to come down the pipeline, that's going to affect us, so we can make a noise about them before they pass them. Because, see, that's the thing. If nobody's making any noise about it, they'll pass it, and then we want to make noise.
Right.
But we can't do nothing about it.
Right.
Afterwards.
Right.
Real talk. Real talk,
so like
brother.
I say, I commend y'all providing the information. I commend 97 for providing the platform. I call in regularly. I try to listen to the programs. I try to stay informed. So like I say, I just want to throw my 2 cents in there to say, hey, whatever we did to cause that movement to get Whitehorn elected, we need to galvanize that same process behind everything moving forward.
For sure.
That was a wake up moment for us. So let's not go back to sleep.
There you go.
Right. Well, thank you.
Let's not go to all the other distractions behind music and fashion and all that other stuff.
Right.
Now's the time to be about the business of the people.
Right.
Thank you, brother.
Our people. You know, in ministry we say you got to be about the business of God. Now we got to be about the business of the people.
That's it, man.
And we got to continue this movement that we did for the Whitehorn election. Because when you talk to people about that, you got to let them know, hey, years from now, you got to realize you was part of history.
Right.
You made that happen. You know, it's a saying that you never see the importance of a moment until it becomes a memory. So we got to make sure every moment is important. Every step that we do, everything that we do, we got to be intentional, because the world right now that we live in is an intentional world.
Right.
There ain't nothing by accident. Ain't nothing just happenstance. No. Everything that we see that interacts with us on a daily basis is intentional.
Man,
so we got to make sure we are living intentional.
Man, thank you so much for always calling in,
Thank
bro.
you for allowing me to call. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man. I'm gonna grab this other call, but thank you, man. Always call, always.
Thank you.
.7 The Heat. We got another caller right quick, Calvin.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you all so much for being so interested and giving so much information to us. But my issue is, since this is issues that matter, I was called for jury duty.
Right.
And of course, downtown.
Don't be trying to get out of it.
Huh?
Go ahead, man.
Don't be trying to get out of it.
I'm sorry, but no, I didn't. No. I know that sounds civil duty.
I'm just
for being
messing with you.
registered voters. So my concern is they are asking us to come do that duty, but there's no available parking spaces for that particular call to us. So I'm trying to see what can be done or who can we speak to about providing parking spots for when you're called for jury duty.
That's a good question. I was called for jury duty this week too. I spent my day Monday down at the courthouse. Very interesting scenario. Jury duty is important, and we've got to do a better job of making that convenient for folks, because it is a tremendous imposition in time, but it's one of the most important things that you can do as a citizen next to voting. I mean, our legal system is based upon having a jury of your peers, 12 folks, 6 folks, randomly selected to sit down and decide what's right, what's wrong, what the facts are, and what they aren't. And so it's important for our people to participate, for number one. But one of the things we can do to probably help the rates of people serving on juries would be to make it easier. And I don't know, that may be something that the judicial coordinator has to work with. We might have to have a scenario where, let's say, people park at at the municipal auditorium, and then there's a shuttle that takes people back and forth. There's some law enforcement that watches your car, and there's a shuttle that takes you back and forth from the courthouse to that designated parking area, something like that. But you're right, it's an imposition, and the parking piece is an imposition also. And the more you inconvenience people, the less likely they are to participate. And I can tell you, as a lawyer, I look for instances where I can have a jury that looks more like my clients or looks more like the parish. So you're right. Something does need to be done.
Another thing you can do, get the parking app. So so if you go down there, get that parking app and put on there, Angel. So when you park, you can actually do it from your phone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I'm giving you another scenario you can use instead of, because if they don't do anything about it soon, you're going to have to do it for yourself. So put that parking app, put your license plate on it, and when you see a spot like where you can park in one of those green zones,
right,
park there and you can pay it from where you at.
Right. It's a lot more convenient, but you're right.
But I mean, they need a better solution.
They do need a better solution, but that will help in the short term for sure.
Right, because I do it too.
Oh yeah, me too.
All right then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
WKSH 97.7.
Again, thank you guys for what you do.
All right, thank you, man.
It allows for people to be involved from where they are.
Right.
And I appreciate very much what you all are allowing the public to get involved in. I heard Jackson say something earlier about trusting our elected officials. That needs a whole lot more to go along with it. Donald Trump is an elected official, or was an elected official. I can't go with the trust in Donald Trump. One good thing, and not many very good things that I heard Ronald Reagan say, but one statement he made was, trust but verify.
That's it.
We cannot just elect people and trust them to do the right thing. This last 8 years has told us specifically, has shown us specifically, trust has nothing to do with it. You better be about the business of checking folks out and making sure that you hold their feet to the fire. Thanks for allowing my comment.
All right, thank you, sir.
And I thank you, and I appreciate your comment, and I think he's right. What I would say, and I think, and I'm not putting words in Brother Jackson's mouth, but I think I understand where he was coming from. When you've been one of the people who have consistently shown up for your people, when you've consistently done the work, when you're consistently advocating for us, and more often than not, when you do things that are authentically black and authentically for the community, you are upsetting the status quo, and the status quo is going to come after you. The status quo is going to call you out your name. Your status quo is going to say, you didn't do this right. You ran a red light. I think the challenge that we have is when we hear people that are against our community saying bad things about our representatives, rather than to stand up for those people who have stood up for us, we are the first ones to say, well, I told you he wasn't no good. Let me say this, and hear me good. One of the things that I begrudgingly respect about that group that's around Trump, in their mind, they know he's raggedy, they know he's no good, but he's our raggedy, no good person because he does what we ask him to do and we're going to ride for him. What we have to start doing in our community is when we have elected officials that may come short on some things, but when it comes down to it, they are there for us. We got to ride for ours just like they ride for theirs. The problem is the first time you as an elected official do something to support the community and the status quo comes after you, you turn around and say, yeah, I got my people. Oh, hell, where everybody at? Y'all running for the hills. And you letting the people that I've been fighting on your behalf talk bad about me for fighting for you. So the next person won't fight for you And so you get to the point where you say, ain't nobody fighting for us. Well, that's because the people that's fighting for you, you don't support them. But we can talk about that all day.
Well, you know, I can agree, and we finna end, but I can agree with that because here at 97.7, we say things that no other radio stations and nobody else would say to the community.
Correct.
We do things to help the community.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to be honest with you. Do we get the same in return? Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But what I'm saying in a nutshell is that I understand about a person standing up for you.
Right.
And when they stand up for you and you look around and nobody's standing with you, that's a lonely place.
It is.
But the only thing I can say, man, God has always had us.
Yes.
And I ain't never had no problem like that.
Yes.
But I want you to know that when somebody stick their neck out for you to make sure that the community is fine, that you're getting the right information, you need to stand for that person. That's the reason why you don't have no leaders now.
Right.
The reason why you don't have no definite leaders here in Shreveport is because so many of them been bogged down with, because they make a mistake, everybody on them.
Right.
But your white counterpart can make a mistake, and guess what? They still behind them.
That's right.
They trying to get rid of the Speaker of the House now.
That's right.
No, I'm tripping off that, you know.
man.
But I'm just saying,
it's a tough business, bro. And again, we gonna cut it short here, but what we have to do in our community is get to that level of political maturity that says we're gonna support the people that support us. Straight like that. Listen, you've been listening to Issues That that's a Will Down there.
Oh yeah.
That's Issues That Matter, 97.7. We're gonna slide into some of this Will Downing after tonight, the Sheets remix on 97.7 WKSH, The Heat.
We play what we want to play. We say what we need to say.
Good evening.
I can satisfy your every single need of love. Do everything your heart and mind's been thinking of. Listen to every single word you have to say. I wanna know about you in every way. Baby, my mission tonight is to satisfy you. And baby, we gon' take this love and make it do what it do. Yeah, yeah. 'Cause after tonight, I'm gonna show you how to make love. After tonight, I'm gonna show you how to make love. After tonight, I'll be the only one you're thinking of. After tonight, I bet you'll never be the same love. No, no, no. After me loving you, after me loving me, after tonight, after tonight. Show you how to make love. My one and only desire is to please you. Desire is to please you. Fall on my knees and beg if I have to. Babe. Give me a chance, I bet I'll make you smile. I'll make it last, baby, for a long while. Baby, my mission tonight is to satisfy you. And baby, we gon' take this love and make it do what it do. After tonight, I'm gonna show you how to make love. After tonight, I'm gonna show you how to make love. After tonight, I'll be the only one you're thinking of. After tonight, I bet you'll never be the same love. No, no, no. 'Cause after me loving you, after you loving me, after tonight, I'm gonna break it down, break it down. Down, down, down. I'm gonna break it down, break it down. Down, break it down. Let me break it down, break it down. Down, down, down. Let me break it down, break it down. Down, break and make it do what it do. Yeah, yeah. 'Cause after the night, I'm gonna show you how to make love. After the night, I'm gonna show you how to make love. After the night, I'll be the only one you're thinking of. After the night, I bet you'll never be the same love. You'll never be the same love, no. After me loving you, after you loving me, after tonight, show you how to make love. Ooh, babe. After the night, I'll be the only one you're thinking of. After the night, I bet you'll never be the same love.
No matter when you listen, morning, afternoon, evening, or overnight, you'll always feel the heat on 97.7 WKSH, The Heat.